Hello, everybody. Hello.
All right.
Hello. Welcome to Soulful Solutions. My name is Dr. Debbie Green. Wonderful having you today. And I want to welcome my wonderful host, Naima Latif, our executive producer of the Female Solution. Good morning, Naima.
Well, a great morning it is, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone who's giving thanks today.
Yes, yes, we are so thankful for another year. Oh my God, it's amazing. It just seems like it just I mean, it went poof or something. I don't know.
Time fast.
Yeah, it moved very quickly, didn't it? It was
Mhm. Where did
very quickly. It moved very quickly, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is it. We are done." After
yeah,
Thanksgiving, it's downhill from here.
right.
It's
That's
that
right.
is it.
December, and
That
that's
is
the end
it.
of it. Yes.
Yes. So I'm excited. We are having our guest back on today. Sure where she is, but we definitely want to, welcome Miss Jennine Bradford-Lee back. She will be on shortly. And I think that was such a much needed topic to go over again and again and again.
Yes.
As
Yes.
many times we need to go over that topic because it is so surreal and it's happening even at this very moment.
Yes.
It's about that topic. It is so overwhelming, on a daily thing. It's overwhelming how many people are affected by sexual abuse and also, just abuse trauma, you know, period. We have at the hospital where I work, we have a special area of counseling for people who have been traumatized. So
Mm,
it is, yes, is trauma is handled much differently than any other mental illness to be traumatized. Yes, it is.
it's interesting this time of year where there are family gatherings. A lot of times, if there is an abuser in your family, this can
Mm,
really be a trigger because sometimes they're there right in the midst of the family gathering. I remember
ye-
Oprah Winfrey. It was interesting. One time, Oprah Winfrey was telling the story of, she had an abusive relative
mhm.
and she had become, the famous Oprah Winfrey with her talk show and everything, and went to a family gathering. And there this person was talking to her, giving her orders, telling her, fix my eggs a certain way, all that kind of thing. And it's like subconsciously she fell right back into the same pattern of accepting this person who had abused her and all that. And inside, sometimes you're still that person, even when you evolve into something else. But those circumstances can bring all of that back. And it
Yes.
was amazing hearing her tell that story because you realize a lot of people, if they have been traumatized and the perpetrator of the abuse is a family member, they have to keep
Mm,
thinking that every time they go to a family gathering, if they choose to go to a family gathering. And for so many families, the whole dynamic is, let's not even acknowledge that it happened, or let's pretend like it doesn't happen, or, let's not believe it happened. And so that person has to keep facing the reliving of that trauma and the pretending like it didn't happen, but it did, and it's affecting them. And so many families have that that person that really shouldn't be around children, that's there, that has done things, and their presence can cause so much pain because we tend to not deal with it.
yes. And a lot of families have those, I call them shadow hidden mysteries because that's what they are. They're hidden and they don't want to talk about it. They pretend that it didn't happen. And unfortunately, you have children that grow up into adults and experience that same trauma over and over, so surreal to the point where because they never finalized it, they never got the opportunity to deal with it. They never had the opportunity to say anything to the person that hurt them, or none of that happens. So what happens to those words? What happens to those feelings, those emotions that's linked to this particular situation? They just don't go away, people. They
Mm-hmm.
stay inside of us, and they become toxic to our soul, and we get so sick behind it. And I mean, we get what they call dis-eased, leading to, ramifications of sickness emotionally. I mean, it's one of the, I mean, it's amazing how something that you experience can tear you to pieces, bits, piece by piece, because of not, again, finalizing. Let's talk about that for a moment. Is
Yeah.
can trauma be finalized? Can it be? Can you move on from it?
Well,
Is it?
what happens if you confront the person who abused you and they deny it? Does it make it worse, or does it make it better that you got it out, even if they never acknowledge it or give you the apology you think would heal your soul? What if they, accuse you of lying and all that? Can it make it worse, or does it at least help you release the anger, the pain, the rage, whatever it is you have bottled up, to be able to speak it to that person? What
Well, that's the thing, though, Naima. You have to be strong enough emotionally to
Mm,
deal to even face a predator. If
yes.
it's dealing with that particular topic, that particular subject matter, when it comes to facing the person that harmed you in some type of way, whether it's verbal, sexual, mental, whatever, you have to be strong enough to face that person. A lot of people find it very hard to confront this person. They may fear this person, dislike this person, to a highest degree. But when it comes to confronting them, again, you have to know that you're okay, you're all right, even if you don't get the response that you feel you deserve. But if you are not strong enough and you go there, then what happens is, yes, it can open up trauma back all over again.
Mm,
Yeah, it can. It
yeah.
can. Because, our systems, mind, body, and soul, keeps the count. It keeps the count of the emotions. It keeps the count of the evidence of the event. It keeps the count. So it's always there. It's not, it doesn't, when I say go away, that's why I said finalize, because it never goes away, because it's in your memory bank. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's in your memory bank, and you can get triggered through your sensory organs, your sensory area of your brain. Anything can trigger you, a loud sound, a smell. I mean, it just depends. PTSD is real. Most people that experience trauma to moderate to severe have PTSD, post
Mm,
traumatic stress syndrome. And it's because of the brain is then activated subconsciously to this event, to this situation, to this incident. Like a person that was in a car accident, and the car accident could be, mild, moderate, severe, but whatever they perceived it to be. So when they get back into a car, they immediately feel those jitters. They feel uncomfortable because of the fear that's associated
yeah.
with.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? It's the fear of imminent threat that makes one feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So association is guilt, is what they call it, guilty by association, but it's association.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. When you have been abused in some way, like you say, verbal, physical, sexual, and the person is someone who is close to you, like a parent or a step parent or uncle, or someone that the family respects, and you fear that either you will not be believed or you will be blamed. Even when you become an adult, that feeling is still there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what can happen, like you say, unless you have something else, and I don't know how people get through these things without therapy or some type of spiritual practice that repairs the damage to their soul.
Right.
But unless you go through something that undoes that trauma, that fear will always be there because you can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I had an event, and I won't go into details because we're not talking about me today. Um, but I had an event that brought me back to a moment where I had been traumatized, and I didn't realize what it was. Someone said something to me, and next thing I knew, I was on the bathroom floor crying and was in bed for 3 days
Wow.
because it had brought me back
Pierce.
to
It
something
pierced you.
that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It pierced you.
And so it could happen. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize that was a thing that was still there inside of me, that it happened all the way in childhood, but it was still there. So you don't know what's what pain you're still carrying that can be triggered, and you don't know that you're not healed from something until it comes up in your life.
Right.
So unfortunately, we're taught to suppress feelings or not acknowledge them, or made to feel weak if something moves us to tears or whatever the case may be. You know, when you're ridiculed as a child for crying, then you learn to not ever express sorrow
Mm-hmm.
out of fear of being ridiculed. And sometimes you're really in pain, but you learn to mask it because of the ridicule.
Right. Yes.
And
Yes. And we do that as, one of, we got several ego, what they call ego defense mechanisms. And one of those things is similar to masking. It's similar to not allowing that particular situation to get the best of us, you know, in that moment. But what happens is when it becomes an ongoing thing, like when we hold on to something due to the pain that's causing us, and people hold on to pain, Naima, they don't let go of pain. It's like pain is a keeper, you know. Um,
mm,
they get familiar with it, they get comfortable with it to the point where they start justifying why they're in pain. They make excuses. They explain to, why this pain is so comfortable. Or I'm comfortable in my pain. I'm comfortable feeling this way, you know. So the trauma then becomes so real to the point where it literally transforms your present moment.
yeah,
Now, remember, of course, past is past. If it happened during childhood, if it happened during your young adulthood, if you're older, let's say, for example, if you're 50 something and you experienced something when you were in, your 18, 20, whatever years, and it was so traumatic for you to where you still then are affected by it. And one thing about the inner child, because the inner child is just what it is. It's a past event that happened when we were younger that we thought we've gotten over. And so when life happens, and because it will, and something then puts us at a, I don't know, something we experience, like what you just said. You know what I'm saying? When you experience something that you didn't have any idea that would have, hit you so hard,
Yes.
you know, that caused you to, your ADLs, your activity of daily living, to be changed in that moment,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know. But because we are human beings, we are flesh and blood, we are nervous endings, we are all of these things that we are. But at the same token,
Yes.
we need to be consciously aware. Okay, is this situation overwhelming me? Am I in a position where I can control this? Do I need help? All the above. So if we need help, most people try to help themselves first before asking. And I say this so candidly, most people don't ask for help until they start drowning.
Oh, yes.
They
Yes.
don't ask for help until they literally start drowning. And what does that mean, Dr. Deb? That means when you feel you've lost your momentum, you wait, and people wait until that time because they don't want to talk about it. They don't want nobody else to know about it. No one wants anyone to see their pain. They
Mm.
just don't. We want to have, like you said, that facade of saying that I'm okay. All right, I'm okay in my pain. Everybody else can see, but they don't say. Some say it if they care about you. They
Mm.
may say, I think there's a problem. I don't want you to think that I'm being nosy and think, but are you all right?
Mm.
You know, because you can't see yourself when you're in pain. Don't you know that? I
Right.
mean, with deep pain,
Yeah.
deep seated pain, soulful pain, you can't really see
Yeah.
yourself until you are drowning.
Mm. So what happens?
Until you're drowning. Oh my God,
So
that's
now
heavy.
what happens if a person has reached that point and maybe they're in a depression where it's crippling them? They can't work, can't eat, can't sleep, that level of depression, and they know it is from a hurtful situation with someone. Would it be helpful to confront that person and just say, look, this is what happened, this is what you did, it was a horrible, devastating thing to me? um, Not knowing how that person may respond with ridicule, or might even be smug, like, oh, I did that to you. I mean, you don't know. But if you're already in a low state of mind, you're already depressed, drowning, would it be better to confront them, even if their acknowledgement is not, the remorse that you would hope? Maybe it's anger, how dare you tell me this? But still, you've said it rather than hold on to it. Would that be better to
Oh,
let?
absolutely, absolutely. Because remember, those words have power, and the damage of those words hold more toxicity when they're not released.
Mm.
And one of the treatments that I do is called life cycle analysis.
Mhm.
So when I do that, when I actually take a person through that particular process, what I do is I literally, write down all the traumas that they might have had. And you say, well, how can you write down all the trauma? Well, some traumas are greater than other traumas. Some things are just disappointments in life. But traumas is those things that hit us with such an impact it took us to a brokenness moment in our life. So those are the areas that I focus on. So when the opportunity comes to speak to those traumas, that individual, you can see their whole affect change. Now, mind you, they're just standing there with me and them, and that's it. And they're looking at a dry eraser board, and that dry eraser board has these issues that they have to address because they're ready to finalize When you're ready to finalize something, you got to speak to that situation. You cannot think something is going to go away until you release it with your words, your actions, and your behavior. It is
Mm.
not one of those things that you can cover up. It's not one of those things you can deny. It's not one of those things that you can pretend for long periods of time because you think you can. It'll work for a while, but trust me, you will get to a drowning moment.
Wow.
Something is going to cause it to happen because anything, think about this. When there's bubbles at the sea floor of the ocean, it may take years for those bubbles to come up because pressure is the one that's making them rise. What am I saying to you? For those who are out there listening to me, if you are in a situation of trauma and you know that trauma is still surreal for you, it's still alive, and some people say, "Oh no, I'm not going to worry about that. You know, that happened years ago. I'm not worried. You know, I'm not even when it comes to visit me. I'm just going to repress it all over again. Even when I'm triggered, I'm not going to suppress it all over again." The more you push it back, the more you do not allow yourself to feel, release, and let go and speak to that situation, is the greater it gets. Again, the bubbles are coming from the floor, the deep-seated areas of your being. And it may take years for that thing to rise. But when it comes up, you don't want it to turn into a tsunami. You don't want it to turn into a hurricane. Do you understand? I'm giving you a picture right now.
Yes.
Okay. We have people that are walking, breathing time bombs, landmines, walking. Look at the news. Listen to, social media. Oh my God, is full with it. Full with what people just to the point of just exploding. And when they explode, they want to take everything with them because that's what a landmine does. It just doesn't kill the person. It kills everything around it.
Yeah.
So this is what trauma does to some human beings. I'm not saying specifically in your case, but some human beings don't know how to deal with trauma. And
Mm.
when things continue to happen over and over and over again, because they're cycling in their trauma,
Yes.
literally. So what are they doing? They're literally, because it's inside of them, it's not been finalized. They're literally attracting these cycles. They're attracting it. And you say, is it their fault? No, it's because it's something that's inside and we are magnets in the universe, guys. You touch a live wire, it'll go through your being, and if you touch another human being, it will go and it will touch them. We are live wires. So what am I saying to you? That all of this energy that you have inside you, if that energy is toxic, it goes out into the universe and it comes back. It
Ooh.
goes out and it comes back. And every time the wave of that toxicity comes back, it is stronger than the last time.
Ooh. Wow.
And I mean, it is so surreal. That's why it's so important that you be self-aware and allow yourself to breathe through your pain. Breathe
Mm.
through your pain. Don't make pretend like it's not there.
Mm.
I don't care how it's obtained through mother, sister, brother, husband, sexual crisis, however, domestic abuse, you have to face it so you can become strong enough to conquer it.
Yes. Yes.
That's the goal. We run away from pain, but then we sit in it. Wait a minute, what's going on with that?
Mm. I think maybe it's because we're taught that it's weak to be in pain. So we feel like we're supposed to pretend like it's not there.
Well, I tell you what, a good pretender will never get an Emmy or a Grammy, not in life. They're just
Mm.
going to get more pain. The more
Yeah.
you pretend, the stronger the pain becomes.
Yes,
because it's
yes,
not finalized. When you finalize a situation, again, you have to speak to it. So like you said, if you can speak to the perpetrator that hurt you, and some first you got to first forgive before you even go there, because when you go to that person, you're going to go with anger,
yes,
and
yes.
that's not going to help the situation.
Because anger makes them defensive, which means they're not listening and feeling the pain they caused. They're busy defending what they did.
Correct.
They don't want to be accused. So yeah, that's the I think that's the challenge, is forgiving them before you approach them, so that what you're doing is not attacking, because they're not going to be able to receive the message of your hurt. They're going to be busy defending the attack, which means denying that what they did was hurtful.
Well, you got to see it from their point of view, because they're the perpetrator.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can't expect, I mean, unless that person has gotten a inkling of forgiving themselves, and also casting forgiveness out. Like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. What I did to you. And again, that person that's receiving, the receiver, has to have the ability to receive that, not with anger though. Because
Yeah.
no, I mean, no, you didn't. I mean, but whatever you're gonna say, you got to say it assertively. Because if you get angry with it, guess what? You really didn't let it go. You really did. You know what I'm saying? You didn't forgive yourself. You did not forgive the person that did it. You said, well, why should you forgive yourself? Well, the thing about this, I think forgiveness is on both sides of the coin.
Because
It's not
sometimes
that you did anything wrong. It's just that you forgive yourself for holding it.
yeah,
That's what it is. Not the act. It's for holding it for periods of
holding
time.
the pain for so long,
Yes.
and maybe even angry at yourself. I let this happen to me, as if you're maybe inside blaming yourself.
Right. And there's no one, the thing about an act like that, or anything of abuse, we have to understand there's so many factors that will lead to another human being violating another human being. You know, but I mean, the act of forgiveness puts a damper on, but also a strength in place. It's an anchor for that person to move on. The
Mm,
person that was the receiver of the pain, the receiver of the violation, for them to move on. Because if they don't forgive, they can't move on. They will stay in that place of unrest. They will stay in that place of victimization, which then is going to cause them to be a victim in another situation, because one victimization will draw another. It's whatever's inside of us.
mm,
It just continues to cycle over and over and over again. And we hope that before that person that experienced that victimization and that cycle ceases it, so it doesn't, if they have children, it doesn't travel in their children, because we
yeah,
call it generational curses. That's another word for it.
yes.
That's what
Passing,
it is.
passing on,
So we're
passing.
gonna
Yeah, we're gonna take a break.
yes, because our guest is in out, she's here, so we're gonna take a break first,
Be
and
right.
we'll be right back.
All right.
What if you could live to be 120 years old and remain active, healthy, alert, and vibrant? Our bodies are made of cells that are constantly rejuvenating. So if we take proper care of ourselves, we can literally defy aging. Join us every Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time to learn about self-care from Susan Essentials on the Female Solution Blog Talk Radio Show. Learn how to help your body and yourself feel rejuvenated each day through proper nutrition, sleep, frequency medicine, and many unconventional methods of self-care. I'm Jody Susan. Join me and my amazing guests by calling in at 515-605-9325 and press 1 to speak. We'll help you achieve a breakthrough in your health today. I'm Beata, your holistic life coach. These days, it's more important than ever to work on your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Are you consciously breathing deeply in stressful moments? Do you have a plan or daily routine to maintain balance in your awesome body? Are you struggling to be disciplined in your eating habits? When you partner with me, I'll personalized health plan that works for your particular lifestyle. You can find out more about me at yourholisticlifecoach.com, where you can also review my 3-step protocol to guide you to abundant health. That's yourholisticlifecoach.com, and I'm Bianca. Hi, this is John Alexander. And I'm Naima. Meet people like you who are making a positive difference in the world. Watch us every day on The Media Connection at www.youtube.com/The Media Connection TV. YouTube it. We'll see you soon. There are people who choose to make a positive difference in the world. Our job is to bring you their stories to motivate you to do the same. Join us each week, host John Alexander and Naima Latif, as we bring you the educators, entertainers, elected officials, religious leaders, and community activists whose works are transforming this world. Find out how you can make a difference too. Be inspired. Watch The Media Connection. Mondays at 5 p.m. and Tuesdays at 12 noon on cable TV channel 19 in Chicago and other cities. Check your local cable listings.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back to Soulful Solutions. My name is Dr. Debbie Green with my wonderful co-host, Naima Latif, our executive producer of the Female Solution. And our guest is in the backstage, so we're going to go ahead and bring Jennine Bradford-Lee on. Good morning, beautiful. How are
Morning.
you?
Good morning. How are you guys?
We are doing wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to partake a second time with you because we had so much technical difficulty last time. And I did not get the opportunity to really, say what I wanted to say because I just felt like I was,
In
so
and
much
out,
effort.
in and out.
Yes, it's a big difference when things are not running smoothly. So, again, I thank you and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys as well.
Yes, yes. I love Latifa. That smile lights up my day. You hear me?
She does have that smile.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. So, again, what I wanted to do is just elaborate a little bit on, like I say, the fast forward. The fast forward is like, where you are now and what you've been doing, even in your career, that has been a benefit to you and other families as well. Because I think our fields are very similar. And I believe, if I'm not correct, what is your master's in? Is this a
My,
master's?
my master's is in human services and my bachelor's is in family and child studies.
Right, right. So what made you choose that field?
I chose that field because of the environment that I grew up in. Um, just based off that and everything that I went through, I just kind of gained this passion to help others, because I did, remember certain people who helped me willingly and unwillingly, or
Yes.
that didn't even know that they helped me just by, doing something so small that will be considered so small to them or to anyone else, but it was huge to me.
Absolutely. So for our new viewers, say, because I know some of our new viewers were not on the last time that you were here, and I just want you to kind of just tell them a little bit about the book you wrote, Well, just a
Okay.
little summary of everything that you might have went over with us last time.
Okay, no problem. I wrote my first published book. It's called Against All Odds, in which I speak about some of the struggles and the trials and tribulations that I went through, and how, the path that it took me on, the hurdles, speed bumps to try to just get to a place where I'm at peace. I speak I'm very transparent and raw in the book, because I feel like some of the subjects that I speak about, you cannot sugarcoat some of those. Some of those are witnessing domestic violence, just being a product of your environment, sexual harassment, sexual assault. And this started all at the young age of 5, 6. I grew up in the projects. Both of my parents abused drugs. So, the term that they called it back then was that I was a crack baby, because both of my
Mhm.
parents, did drugs while they, why my mom got pregnant with me. So just witnessing some of that, just seeing, drug dealers knock on the door, try to be physical. You can kind of see and tell, even though you're in the projects and a lot of kids are, the same, growing up the same. Me and my sister kind of seeing that, we weren't being provided the way that we should. So most of our necessities was not being met because of the struggle with drug abuse and things like that. And, back then as a kid, you get upset and angry, because you're not
Mhm.
provided basic soap water. But as you get older, you're still angry. But when you start to study, the psychological piece of it, some of
Mm.
that hurt and that anger starts to release, because like you mentioned, you have to forgive not only yourself but them, because it will weigh heavy on you. So growing
Yes.
up, I didn't have that relationship with my mom because I was still so angry. Um and then, my sister, she was probably about 10, 15 years older than myself. She had 3 kids of her own, and she left to go to the South Side, and she came back for us like a year later, and she did get me and my other sister, who was only 4 years older. And I was so happy because I thought, okay, we're going to have food, we're going to have clean clothes, it's going to be different.
Mhm.
um, and it was, we did have clothes, food, but for me, that came with being molested by her boyfriend
Wow.
every chance he got for years at a time. You're living under the same roof. So it's, sadly to say, it's easy access for him. So for me, I was happy on that end that I was provided with food, water, clothes, and I was clean. I wasn't dirty, I was clean. But mentally, I was being touched as a child. So I would try
Mhm.
to visit friends, to try to escape it. And then when I would visit certain friends' house, their uncles and brothers would do the same thing to me. So I had nowhere to
Mhm.
run, nowhere to hide. So I just put it in my head that, it'll stop soon. It'll stop soon. It has to. It'll stop soon. And it did. It stopped. And in order for me to cope with it, I pretended like nothing happened because I knew
Mm.
no one would believe me. I saw the dynamic of their relationship. And he wasn't a good person. He was physically abusive, um, cheating, disrespectful, domestic violence. So I just knew that I wouldn't be believed, and I was told that no one would believe me. So when you're a
Mhm.
child and you're told that no one will believe you by another adult, and you see the power that he has,
Yes.
you easily believe it. So that's another anger inside of me. So I grew up a very angry child, and that angry child
Yeah.
grew up to be an angry adult. So I walked around life just angry a lot. And I had a child. I was a teenage mom. So now that's something else for me to be angry about. And I also felt guilty that I even became a teenage mom because I felt as though, because of what happened to me, why would I even think about being sexually active. That shouldn't even be on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So that now I'm angry with myself again as well. So I just grew
Correct.
up very angry and hurt, and I had to learn how to be gentle with myself.
Mm-hmm.
While I was on the
Mm-hmm.
road to forgive them, I had to also forgive myself because I blamed myself for a lot. I felt like I walked around with a note on my head that said, molest me, because it was happening oh so often. So I blamed myself because I said it must be something that I'm doing for these different men to want to touch me.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went through life, and you put something so far in your head and you forget that it happened because that's how you cope. Because, in the Black community, mental health was not as known as it is now. And then you're told, don't cry, you're strong, you don't need this. That's for white people. So now I have
Mm-hmm.
all this in my head. So now that I'm a young adult, it's a lot of behaviors and traits that I have to unlearn. So I just
Right.
dealt with it because of what I was taught and what I was surrounded by. So then when I finally realized that I needed help is when I started to have children and become in a serious relationship. And these triggers just start popping out of nowhere. I didn't even know I had triggers, because to me, my motto was mask on, mask off, keep going. The more I stayed busy, the less I thought about it. So I would never sit still. There was no sitting still for Jennine, because if I sat still, those thoughts came up, and I didn't want those thoughts to come up, because if
Mm.
thoughts came
Okay.
up, my emotions will come up, and I didn't want that. So I just kept going. I never sat still. I just was busy, 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 busy. I never really got any sleep. And when I started to see those triggers, I thought to myself, like, okay, I may need help, because I would get angry.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, I didn't even know I had triggers, and they would just come out of nowhere. And I'll just be I'll be fine. And we'll be talking or watching TV, and I'll just get upset or just start crying. And I'm like, okay, I have to get help.
Yes.
And when I started to see a
Mm-hmm.
therapist, going in, what you tell yourself is what you believe. Going in,
That's
I'm like,
right.
this is not going to work, because of what I was taught for so long. This is not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
But I told myself, you're here. You took the steps to do the research, to make an appointment. You have to give it a chance. And the first
Mm-hmm.
assignment that she gave me, she called it the sinking ship. She said, you write your bad thoughts down, you ball them up, you put them in a container. It doesn't have to be a big container. And at the end of the day, you put the top on, and you can either dump it in the trash or you can either burn it. Here Jennine go again. I'm so hard on myself and I overthink everything. How is this going to work? Me writing thoughts down, this is not going to work. I'm like, see, Jennine, I told you, you're wasting your time. You're going to listen to somebody say, write some thoughts down, ball them up, and that's going to make you feel better. How? But again, I did it. So the first week, because of what I told myself, it didn't work, because what you tell yourself is how you will feel,
It's
and
what.
that will be the result
Mm-hmm.
that occurs. That action will occur because of what you put in it. It didn't work for the first week, but that's only because I didn't let it work. I didn't allow it to work, and I didn't do the work. I participated in it, but I didn't do the work because I wasn't meaningful in it. I'm already saying it's not going to work. So after that first week, I noticed it was working. So I
Mm-hmm.
started writing harder, balling it up harder, because I was so happy that I'm like, oh my God, this is really working. Like, I thought
Yes.
to myself, had you sought out therapy years ago, like, do you know the the type of woman, the strength you would have had you done this so long ago? And I was like, okay, just be gentle with yourself. You're doing it now. And that's what I tend to do a lot. I'm so hard on myself. And it
Yeah.
started to work. So whenever I speak to someone closer, a friend, a family, a stranger, I give them that advice, and I can look in their face as soon as I say it, they're thinking the same thing I thought. And
Yeah, that won't work.
I say, you thinking the same thing I thought. I said, yeah, give it a week. I promise you, give it a week. And I tell them, tell yourself, do not self-talk is so important. Do not speak
Yes.
negative thoughts in yourself. I said, you're doing the same thing I did. For a week, try it without being negative and see how it works. So
Yes.
I started to do that because I told myself, okay, I'm going to tell my family now what I went through. And what I imagined would happen and what actually happened was on two totally different spectrums.
Mm-hmm.
And that would depress you as well.
What were you expecting
Because
when you?
I was expecting a hug.
Oh, see,
one simple hug, an act of love. I was expecting just one hug, guys. One hug. I'm sorry this happened to you. I didn't know. I wish you would have told me. I played the whole scenario out of my head.
Wow.
And
that would have helped if they could have done that. But what actually happened?
I was blamed. I was told I was a liar. Mm-hmm. Everything that I knew what happened as a child and why I never said anything happened. Wow. And this is why people don't speak up. It made me feel like I said it and I couldn't believe it. Wow. But I told myself, what did you expect? Like sometimes you have to be real with yourself and say, come on, what did you expect?
Yeah.
So
these people that they let this happen in the first place. So what mentality did they have?
But the child in me thought people grow, people change. They're gonna be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But they did. And then I went to the police station because I was on this healing journey. I'm like, no, someone needs to do something about this because I know I'm not the only one. And I know if that I don't speak up now, it's going to be way more. It already happened after me. I'm sure they don't just stop at one. So I knew I wasn't the first and I knew I wouldn't be the last. So I was really on this healing journey to speak up because now I have the courage. So you get that courage and you're like, okay, things are going to change. I went to the police station. Horrible. I was treated so horribly. I was told, if you don't have an old pair of underwear, there's nothing we can do. And that's it. And I just said it a little nicer than he did. It was a male. That made me uncomfortable. And he was I said, can I please speak to your sergeant? The sergeant got on the phone and he was even more nasty to me. He already told you there's nothing we can do. What are we having this conversation for? I swear to God. I hung up. And I just screamed. I just cried. I felt like I had been violated all over again. I regretted telling anybody. I isolated myself and I stopped speaking to my family. I hadn't spoken to them in 5-6 years until another 5-6 years ago. I felt violated all over again. Mm-hmm. And I told myself, this is why people don't speak up.
Yeah.
But then I researched a list of symptoms and how are people who have been through what I've been through, how they are now. And that list was scary. And I was so grateful. I mean, it was sad, but I was so grateful that I only had about 1 or 2 people. So then I tried to reconnected with my family because sometimes we let loneliness reconnect us with people that we know we have no business reconnecting to.
Oh, you better say that.
And at that time, I didn't understand that forgiveness does not require reconnection. I thought once you forgive someone, you extend that olive branch and you reconnect and form a relationship with them. I was wrong. And I took those steps and I did that. I did that. So then it will always be an uncomfortable conversation. We could never really talk about it when I wanted to. And I started to understand, I tried to understand their part. So now with understanding where they come from, I kind of down myself, which is a big mistake because I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
They should be trying to understand my part.
Right.
And so I tried to be as empathetic and sympathetic with them to see their side and where they're coming from. And I didn't get that same treatment.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, okay, my sister, no telling how she's feeling mentally, that she was with someone for so long and he was touching your little sister who was a child. I can only imagine what that would do to somebody. So here I am I'm trying to cope with them and I'm not getting that same treatment. And when I let everyone know I wrote a book, it's helping me heal, writing it down. And they're like, okay, you know. And when it came out and they read it, the bashing started. I started getting bashed on social media, bashed on this, bashed on that. And it almost took me back down that dark hole.
Oh, yes.
Because again, guess what I thought would happen in my head?
Right.
That hug again. Here's that. Here's your chance to give me a hug again. You cannot keep giving people the same opportunities to hurt you. And here I was again, just looking for that hug. I've always looked for that motherly love.
Right.
And when I go to jobs, I'm really close with women that are of age that could be my mom. I'm friends with women like that because I've noticed and I told myself, I have a problem. I have a void. I'm looking for that motherly love.
Mothering, yeah.
Or that big sisterly love. And I'm looking for that hug. I'm sorry. I got bashed bad. Still getting bashed to this day. And it's hard to not defend yourself. But I told myself, I wrote my book. I'm going to continue to let God fight for me because he does a better job at it.
That's it.
But I receive a lot of support. And I tell myself, you have to be conscious of the noise that you pay attention to. And when it's coming from your family, you know, I'm very transparent and honest with anybody I speak to. I don't want to think that this is a cookie cutter, easy, one and done. I wrote a book, I went to therapy, I'm better. No, it's many hurdles. Like the backlash that I received, I had to enroll back in therapy because I knew that it was taking me back down a dark place. And I knew I didn't want to hate them this time. I'm trying something different. I don't want to lash out. I don't want to fight physically. I don't want to hate them. I don't want to go tit for tat. I'm too mature for that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to pay attention to that noise. I want to pay attention to the positivity. So I try my best to pay attention to the positive supporters, the encouragement. And I had to tell people, do not send me any negativity that they say about me. I don't want to know what they say because that's none of my business. But again,
right,
you really have to work towards that because it's hard. Like, it's something when strangers talk about you. That hurts sometimes with your mental. People say stick and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie sometimes. Words do hurt us.
It is a lot. Yes.
And when it's coming from your family, that hurts even more. And when you know certain family members know you're not lying, because they don't want to get that backlash, they're not sticking up for you, that hurts even more because you're like, you know I'm telling the truth. You supported me privately, but you're not going to support me publicly. So that takes another toll on you. But I had cousins that supported me that I didn't even know would support me. And that made me cry because they were threatened and they still put themselves out there and they're like, I stand with Jennine. She's not lying. One of my cousins said, I did not read your book, Jennine, and say, oh my God, this happened. Oh my God. She said she read my book and said, I remember that. I remember that. I remember that.
Oh, validation. Yes.
And because she spoke up for me publicly, it touched my heart.
Yes.
Because when so many people gang up on you, it may look like you're the bad person. So if you have 20 people saying you are this and you are that and you are a liar, this and this, and then it's just one you. To the outside world, they tend to believe whoever has the most people, the most voices. So that's where I was and that's where I'm at now. And they keep recruit people. They keep recruiting people. Anytime a family member supports me, they come at them with negativity and they try to get them to stop supporting me and they call me out my name. I've been called out my name by my brother, mother, sister. Like, they are at me. And my husband, he'll just hold me one day because sometimes there's nothing you can say to make me feel good sometimes when you're seeing your family just tear you down so bad and all you tried to do was heal. That's all I'm trying to do is heal. But I have to keep in mind, hurt people hurt people.
Yes. Absolutely.
And my family members, my mom and my sister, they have their own hurt. And I'm not excusing their behavior, but like I said, I'm trying something different sometimes. I'm not going to return their energy. I'm not going to
Right.
fight fire with fire. I'm going to continue to fight mentally and tell my story so that I can heal, but I'm not going to fight them physically or mentally and go back and forth like they want me to. I'm not going to react to that negativity. They're not going to get a reaction because they have their own hurt. And I know
They
that
do.
some of the stuff they haven't spoke about, and they might not be ready. I cannot force everybody to be ready to heal like I heal. And I understand that some people go through things and they deal with it a different way. So the way that they're dealing with it is what they're used to dealing with. They deal with it with anger. I've been there before. And again, I'm not excusing their behavior, but I'm not going to react like they're reacting towards me. I'm not going to give them that same energy.
Awesome, awesome. You know, you said several things, and I just want to make a comment. I hope this is not going to block everything. Let me see how this works, because I don't think it's going to be able to. Um, with Zelda, she said, wow, awesome that you realized that you were angry at yourself and overcame it. Congratulations. Many are not able to accomplish this major feat. You go, girl. Thanks so much for sharing your journey. You are more of a blessing than you could ever know.
Thank you.
You're more
And
of a
that's what I
blessing you
try
could
to
ever
pay
know.
attention to.
And yes, yes, and yes. So what I know it's almost time for break, but I want to really pull out some key pointers of what you were saying when you said every time you would go to another area, it seems like the same thing kept happening. Well, matter of fact, it was happening. Okay, did you understand what was going on at that time? I
As a
mean, when we
child,
come back from break, I want you, well, I know not as a child. I know you didn't understand as a child, but I'm talking about now. Do you know what was causing that? I mean, I know, and I just wondered if that was something that you did not have a clarity on, or I wasn't sure about why that kept happening. I wanted to bring some light there of why it kept happening, because the reason why it kept happening, because again, whatever is inside of us and that was
exactly.
not fine. See, you have worked on right. You have been working on your finalization. That's what this was. You know, when as you got older, you worked on your finalization. And
Mhm.
well, we're gonna take the break first because I know I can get a
Okay.
little long-winded. So we're gonna go ahead and go to break, and then I'll finish when we get back.
Okay.
Yes. Dr. Debbie, there's a video backstage. If you pull it up, then we can see it on the screen.
Sure. I
Are you
think
able to do?
it looks a little blurry.
It might clear up once you pull up. I don't know. Let's see. You got it?
I mean, it's here, but it's blurry. It's not.
Tax are higher than ever. Every day, thousands of our residents leave Chicago to shop in Indiana. Jobs are being lost and businesses are relocating. Let's find a way to lower our taxes to encourage residents to continue living and shopping in our city. Let's rebuild. Let's restore Chicago. Vote for me for mayor of the city of Chicago, and I will work hard to find solutions that matter. I'm Dr. Willow Wilson, and I approve this message. Paid for by Willow. Our kids are the future and should not be left behind. One person should not decide what is the best for our 77 communities. Politicians must work together for our kids' best interests. They deserve a safe education with resources that meet every student need. Let's rebuild and restore Chicago. Vote for me for mayor of Chicago. I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and I approve this message. Paid for by Willie Wilson for mayor. Crime in Chicago continues to increase. Communities and politicians must come together to make a change. No one person can solve these problems by themselves. But I believe together we can make progress. Let's provide job training, economic growth, and invest into our 77 communities. Let's rebuild and restore Chicago. Vote for me for mayor of Chicago. I'm Dr. Willie Wilson, and I approve this message. Paid for by Willie Wilson for mayor.
I'm not sure how that visually turn it.
I'm not sure either, but welcome back to Soulful Solutions. Welcome back to Soulful Solutions. My name is Dr. Debbie Green, with my wonderful co-host, Naima Latif, our executive producer of The Female Solution. And we have our guest on today as well. It's Jennine Bradford-Lee that wrote this beautiful book, Against All Odds. So what I was going to actually address is that I saw as you were telling me, and I know it's way more to that story. Those are just bits and pieces of the childhood, starting at age 5, and seeing that right when you thought you were going to get safety or be safe, then here comes another perpetrator, here comes another abuser. I said back then when you were a child, I know you didn't have any idea what was going on. You just thought that abusers were everywhere, and they are, that's just the reality of it. But now that you are no longer a child, did you know what was really happening during that period of time? Like what were the causes and the cause and effects of the cycling of abuse that you were experiencing? Do you know what that is?
I
Do you have
always
any
felt
idea
like
what that is?
I always felt like that abusers, they know the people that they seek out, they know that they're running from something, they're hiding from something, that they know they're missing something. So, and like you said, what's in you would eventually come out. They know, it's like they know how to pick them, I should say. They know that you're missing something or you're running away from something, and that's what they harp on in order to wheel you in, or even to think like, they know that I didn't have anyone in my life that will speak up for me or that will protect me. So they always say they know how to pick their victims, sort of say. So I felt like because of what many knew I was running from without even actually saying it, because it was coming out of me without it coming, without me trying to bring it out. They kind of seen that and knew that, okay, sort of say I was the perfect victim. I was the perfect person to violate, because I didn't have anyone in my corner.
So, Dr. Debbie,
Right,
I have
right.
another associate who said the same thing in terms of she'd been abused, and she said it was like she was a magnet for abusers. It's like she could go into a place and somehow victimizers would hone in on her. Like she was saying, same thing that Jennine says, like I had a sign on my forehead, abuse me. And it's like she was attracting that. She didn't know how, but so what is that? Is that a vibration that you're projecting? What is it that causes a person who's been abused to keep getting abused? What's happening vibrationally or
What
whatever that makes that happen?
Right, yeah, there is a transference of energy. Anytime there is, energy can either be negative or positive. You know what I'm saying? So, the negative energy that is experienced when one goes through a trauma of such seriousness as this is the energy that goes inside. It's the energy that comes from the emotions, because emotions are energy in motion, right? So those emotions then are experienced, and they, again, the body keeps the score. The body keeps the score, which is every cell in your body has a memory. Every cell in your body is linked to a particular pain, but it literally remembers everything. So anything that is attracted from the external stimulus that is attracted from the inside of that person is literally, and yeah, you are literally attracting it. I mean, it's not something that you're doing to attract it. I mean, a lot of people say, well, because a person may feel that guilt. They may feel that, like, what am I doing? Why these people feel they can just come violate me? You know what I'm saying? Without my permission, or just taking ownership of my being without my permission. Okay, so that's what it is. It's energy transference. That energy is transferred from the abuser to the abusee. You see what I'm saying? Because guess what? There's a 9 out of 10 that that person was abused in some way, and they got an energy transfer from another, abuser. So it just keeps traveling. It's an energy that travels.
Like a
It's an energy.
disease.
Yeah, it is though. I'm so serious. And the sad part about this is that it takes a great deal of strength, like she says, to not allow it to become putrid, not allow it to put you in a place of enslavement, because it can easily do that. It can easily put you in, like you said earlier, you like, well, yeah, then I became a teenage mom, and I don't even understand why I became a teenage mom, even after I've been violated over and over again. So why did I not recognize what I was doing, at that point? But no, but see, think about this. Okay. One thing about a girl child has been violated early in life. It becomes one of two things. What we do, we become promiscuous, because our sexual orientation has been violated early in life, which is that we become like, this is the only way we know how to give love is to use our body,
Yes.
until we become an adult and realize, okay, I don't have to do this to be loved, and then, I mean, and then some people don't realize that, and instead this is what they do because they don't know how to express love for the self. They don't have to, like you said, you got to first acknowledge, okay, I'm worthy of not, putting myself or allowing this to happen to me over and over again. You see what I'm saying? And I mean, and you say you always want that comfort. And that's the inner child. You know what the inner child is. So the inner child constantly wants the comfort of saying the validation, I'm okay, I'm all right, because it never received it. It never received it for long, long periods of time. So that's the inner child that you are still experiencing. So when someone says something and doesn't comfort the inner child, then because the older you has realized that this is not me. This is not me anymore. Yes, I've been through this, but I made a decision to then finalize it. Like you said, I'm in my healing process. I'm in my healing. It's up to me to heal. No one can heal for me. There's no other person can even understand my healing.
Yes.
And because healing comes with truth. Truth is the one that brings healing. There's no other way. Lies don't bring, they just cover up. But truth is the one that brings healing. Most people don't want to face their own truths because they
Yes.
rather just, let me do it like everybody else do, just pretend like it didn't happen. But then they're putrid inside. They start deteriorating. They start to get, they say, where is it written that I have to be unhappy to make somebody else happy? No, there's no law. There's no law behind that. Don't judge my journey if you don't understand my walk. If you don't understand what I've been through, then there's no way that you're going to understand my pain. So for those individuals, let me reassure you today, for those individuals who do not understand your pain, who did not come to your aid, who, regardless of their friends, family, foes, it doesn't matter who they are, because they can't see what through your eyes, nor can they walk in your shoes. And because they have not come to the point of accepting the truth of the matter, so guess what? Deep down inside of them, they're still attracting that stuff. They're still attracting not just the abuser, but the ones who are covering up, the ones
Yes.
who are not real, the ones who are not acknowledging. They're still keeping that cycle going, inside of them. So what happens, even whether they have smaller children or people that they know, everyone can see that because one thing about hidden mysteries, that's why I call them hidden, deadly mysteries. One thing about that is whatever's in the dark will come to the light. So it may take years for it to come to the light. You know what I'm saying? But one day before they lay down and take their last breath, trust and believe it will visit them,
Okay.
I got
because
a
it's a
question for
spiritual
Jennine.
thing. It's a spiritual thing.
Yes, I got a question for Jennine because I know when I think about people who have become widely publicly known, who written books and told what happened. Oprah Winfrey, Iyanla Van Zant, LaToya Jackson, Maya Angelou. I mean, exposing people who violated them in a book where they then become widely known for telling what happened. And it's so liberating for so many others, like Dr. Debbie was saying, who keep it to themselves and don't do anything. It's such a healing process, but it also exposes the people who violated you. So do you foresee anywhere down the future where the ones who are angry and calling you names or anything may have a change of heart? Or do you think the more known you become, the more in demand as a speaker you become, the more your book gets distributed all over the place with all their names and what they did in it? Do you think it'll just be the end of your relationship because they can't reconcile what they did or allowed to happen and acknowledge it?
I think it's the end. I think they'll never because they never did in the first place. It was just me saying, okay, I forgive them. Let's, I miss the family. I want this family that I thought of in my head. There was never any accountability. And when I sit and think about, and I try not to, I don't put anyone down or anything like that, because I do believe people can change, people can grow. But sometimes when you know certain people, you know that they are who they are. And I don't foresee any changes in them, any understanding, any accountability, because like Dr. Debbie said, they're not ready to face their truth. I pray on it and I hope that they will, so that they can heal and not be so angry. But it's been, 30, 40, 50 years of this, so I don't see them. And like you said, it's revealing them. So they're saying that I'm making them look a certain way.
That's what they look. Mm-hmm.
And I can't make anyone look like anything that they're not. And even if you claim you look like something 10, 20 years ago, people change and people grow. And you can say, I apologize, that was then, this is now. But you cannot say that, because your behavior and your actions are showing everyone that my book is true. You're not doing anything but proving my point. Because and this is why I say I'm doing it differently now. I don't hate them. I'm not going to fight with them, because they're hurting. And it's not my job to make them say it's time to heal. They have to come to that realization on their own.
Correct.
But I'm choosing not to, no matter how they treat me. I'm going to protect my mental and my space and my peace. And I'm not going to involve myself with them or go around them, or, I'm not going to torture myself and do that. But I'm also not going to hate them. I'm going to pray that someday, somehow, they start to heal on their own, because the things that I see in them and what they're doing, I've done it. So I try not to judge. It's hard when those attacks are being geared towards you, but I just keep telling myself and reminding myself that they're hurting.
Yeah.
They're hurting. And although they're not ready to heal, and this is how they deal with it, I dealt with it like that. A lot of people, that's how they deal with it, being angry, because that's the only emotion that they know how to express. That's the only way they know how to deal with things, is by being angry and trying to attack, or, no accountability, putting the blame on someone else. I've seen that because I've done it. So instead, I pray for them that they can heal and one day go on a healing journey like myself, because for so long, I was so put together on the outside, trying to hide what was inside. On the outside, I received compliments. Oh, you dress so nice. You're so pretty. You always so put together, purposely. Because if you see that, you won't see how messed up I was on the inside. I was messed up.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I had to put on this front for the outside so that you wouldn't try to see what was inside of me. It was ugly in there, and it's
Wow.
easy in there for them. So they have to,
Mhm.
you know, I had to learn to be gentle with myself. I thought I was damaged. I did nothing wrong, but I grew up thinking that I was damaged. I'm like, no man will ever love me if they knew everything I've been through.
Right.
I told my husband that for a long time, I didn't tell him everything that happened to me because I still had a fear that if he knew everything, I don't know. And this is what they need to realize too. When I wrote my book, it's things in there I don't want people to know about me.
Right.
I had to find the courage to write things about myself that I don't want anyone to know about. So if
Mhm.
I'm making them look a certain way, I'm also making myself look a certain way. But because I know that's not the same Jennine, I'm okay with that because I'm growing and I'm trying to do, I'm doing better for self. And when you know you're doing better for self, you don't mind people knowing the old you, but they're not
Mhm.
ready for that. And I cannot force that on them. So I just pray from afar, love from afar, and that's all I can do. But
That's it.
I tell myself and I instill in myself like, no, you're not gonna do what you did 10 years ago. You're not gonna react to them. You're not gonna go back and forth with them. You're not gonna do any of that. It's hard, but I refuse to do that. That's not me
Right.
anymore. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
let their actions take me back to a place I fought so hard to get out of.
Correct. Correct. And I'm gonna tell you something. The trauma, the rabbit hole is real. That's what you were saying. You know, when you're in the rabbit hole, there's darkness, there's no light, there's no end to
No
pain.
life.
You know, and
No.
when you take your time and you make the steps and you make the provision to get out, that means you stay out because you don't let anyone,
I'm
you don't let anyone take you back into that area because it's so easy that
so
it could trigger this and trigger that, and because that's what it is. It's a live breathing situation, but most of all real. It's an
real.
energy. I can't explain it no other way. It's an energy that will constantly stay alive as long as we keep it alive. And so what you do when you put your words, hear me when I say this, when you put your words in that book, that was when everything dismantled, everything fell to the ground. Everything fell to the ground that was holding you down. All those chains,
Yes.
mentally, emotionally, and
Shackles.
even
Yes.
like I say, we you still maybe deal with your residue from time to time because
Mm-hmm.
there is residue behind that. You see what I'm saying? But at the same token,
Yes.
you remind
Yes.
yourself on a regular basis, okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? Where am I going? And you direct yourself, and that's what you've been doing all these years. So
Yes.
you took that
Yes.
pain and you turned it into purpose, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what people are supposed to do with pain. Now,
Yes.
unfortunately, some people don't do that, and what it does is stays inside of them, causing sickness. One thing
Mm.
about I call it a live breathing lie. Live
Yes.
breathing lie. It changes our whole being, especially
Mm-hmm.
when truth needs to be revealed and you're still living that lie. And if you look back on some of, if you knew about them, you might saw some of them are deteriorating physically. You know what I'm saying? If you know
Yes.
what I mean, if you could, because it's inside, it's putrid, it's inside
Yes.
of them. Because
Something
when
rotting
you don't
inside.
allow,
Yeah.
yes, you're walking around decaying, and because that energy cannot stay dormant. It has to be
Yes.
revealed. It has to be let go. It has to be moved on. And it's just like holding on to something that's dead, that has no
Mm.
life to it, and you're
Wow.
eating it, and you're just constantly eating. It is
Yes.
surreal. It is
It is.
surreal. So I'm so happy, and most of all, so honored to have you in my presence, because
Um,
your children will not experience that.
and
You
that
see
was
what I'm
my
saying?
biggest. Yes.
In the
Yes.
cycle. Yes. Dr. Debbie, I have her book up on Amazon in the background. If you can pull that up on the screen. And yes, so for those who want to order it on Amazon, there is Jennine Bradford-Lee Against All Odds on sale on Amazon at $14.99. You can go right there
Yes.
and order right now. So
Yeah.
order your book.
That's
Yes.
right. And I think this is a very important book for anyone to have because you never know who's going through what, especially if you have any type of trauma in your life. It doesn't matter what kind of trauma. This is a very empowering book to help individuals that need to close those chapters and
Yes.
and move on. They need to close those chapters and move on because if you again if you keep reliving the same thing over and over again, it'll never die
Never
because
die.
you are the life giver. So we have to be careful what we give life to. So against all odds can be purchased at Amazon and go for it and just get the book to the great. I mean, just for support, but most of all, just because it's needed information. Absolutely. Absolutely.
They can also go on
So
my website, justjanine.com as well.
Now it's just
just
Jennine.
Yes.
yes, www.justjanine,
Mm-hmm.
JENNINE.com. Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. So let me ask you something. Do you have any future plans? Anything
Yes,
else that you want to do?
yes, I plan to because I feel like this. If you want to change something, you have to do something different. And that this is
Right.
why I'm choosing to do everything different when dealing with this time around. Because the last time around, I told my story and then I ran because of the backlash. I ran and I hid and I allowed them to control my narrative. This go around, I'm controlling my own narrative. I'm going to continue to fight mentally, speak, get my, just help anyone who's going through these things because I know that, and this is why I'm transparent with my journey because I want them to see, that, oh, well, most books you read or, most people you encounter and talk to, they say, this is what happened, this is what I did, and I'm fine. So I like to be as raw and transparent as I can with supporters that support me and knowing that that's not the end. That's not how it goes.
Right.
I'm open about I had to go back to therapy. Like even right now, I had to realize because of what I was receiving, I had to tell myself, okay, you need to speak to someone because
Mhm.
this is affecting you and it's taking you right back down that rabbit hole. And you fought too hard to get out of that.
Right.
So in order for you need help. You cannot do everything on your own. And
Right.
although I feel so much better, that's not the end. You still need someone professionally to speak to help you with those emotions and those feelings because again, it can easily make you go back down that hole. And we all know sometimes when you go down that hole, it's even harder the second or the third time around trying to get back out of it. So I
Right.
plan to stay as strong as I can, push through, continue to tell my story to help others, and I'm not going to stop fighting mentally. They're not going to get me to stop fighting mentally. I'm going
Absolutely.
I'm going to
Absolutely.
continue on this journey, not only for myself, but for my children and for other people out there because it's not talked about enough. And when it's talked
Correct.
about, it's swept under the rug. What goes on in this house stays in this house. Don't
That's
tell the
Yes.
family business. No,
so
the
many.
family business is messing me up.
Yes,
So
that
no,
is.
I'm going to continue to fight. No.
That's the thing.
Absolutely.
That is happening in so many houses. Just like we were saying earlier,
That's the
sometimes
hidden deadly mysteries. I'm telling you.
it's such a trigger because you gather together with family and the person who abused you is right there at the table and everybody's acting like nothing happened and you got to face them and live with that and have people not let you acknowledge what happened.
Yeah.
That's there's
Yeah.
so many people living that right now.
Right now,
Yeah.
I had to sit in this man's face as a child and as an adult, as a teenager, as an adult, knowing what he did to me, but I had to pretend like nothing happened. That's you. That will eat you up.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
And
We
the
have.
person knows it, and they
Mm,
pick with you, like they mess with your
yeah,
head.
they use it.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
this person is still around. This person,
Yeah.
I have a nephew. My nephew is a product of this person.
Mm. Wow.
Wow.
So
Yes.
and I had a strong relationship with my nephew. He's 19. But at
Mm.
one point I had to tell my sister, are you going to have a conversation with him or would you rather I? Because he needs to know. I don't want him to read this book and say, oh my gosh, she didn't tell me this.
Right.
And
Mm.
Right.
he's so mature. He's so mature. I had to make sure and remind myself, because you can easily do that, to have some type of feelings towards him because it will remind you of the person that hurt you.
Yes.
So
Oh,
Hmm.
I had to be conscious enough not to hate my nephew, because for so
Right.
long I hated his
Right.
dad.
oh,
Yes.
And that may sound like a
Yes.
horrible
Yeah.
auntie, but I had to definitely be conscious about that. Like, you cannot hate your nephew because you hate his dad.
Right.
wasn't his
Right.
fault. He
Yeah.
It
oh,
wasn't his
Yeah.
fault,
It's
you know. And he apologized to me. You don't have to apologize, sweetie. You did nothing. But
wow.
the 19-year-old apologized. I'm sorry
yeah.
that happened to you, auntie. I want to say something to him, but no, don't. You know, you do not get involved. But he's
Right.
so pure and
Right.
wise. He's so, like, I felt his genuineness at 19.
Yes.
And that
Exactly.
made me feel
Exactly.
so good. But I had to reiterate to him, it's not your fault. I don't hate you. I love you.
It's not his fight. Yes.
We
Yes.
hugged, and
Yes.
I could tell
Yes.
the hurt in his eyes. Like he was afraid that somehow I will blame him. No, I love you.
Mm,
So it's
right.
so many people involved that I try to be conscious about. Like, it's not just, yeah, it happened to me, but it's not just me that's affected by it. And I try to be conscious to this, but I don't get that same treatment all the time. But I have to continue to
Right.
stay me. I can't let their actions change who I am.
There you go. Yeah.
Correct.
We got to
Correct.
take a break, but if you
What
want,
is called?
and
Yeah.
we got to comment on our Facebook page. You can take a look at as well. Our Tuesday host,
Hmm.
Susan Calhoun, says, Jennine, I work energetically to erase timelines. Let me know if I can help. And that's the whole process, which she'll be able to explain, of just removing the energy from that past experience.
I was just talking to my husband about that. I said, I don't know if it can be done, but I feel like I need a
It
cleanse.
Yeah.
can. It
Yes.
can.
That
Yes.
is
And we
so
will definitely
crazy.
give her your
I just told him that. I said, I don't know how to go about it, but I really feel like I need a cleanse.
Cleanse. Yes, it can be done. Yes. And I
yes.
have and
It
Dr.
can be
W,
done.
during the break, if you want to pull up the screen, I have a backstage of Jennine's website.
Okay.
Want to see that as well.
Thank you.
And we will go to a
Okay.
break and be
We
right
will
back.
definitely give you Jody's number so she can
Thank
help
you.
you because she's
Thank
good at
you.
what she does.
Thank you. Wow.
The
All
universe
right.
knows what you need. God knows what you need.
All the
God
time.
knows. He's right on time.
All the time.
Yeah, always.
All right. Be right back.
Hey, it's time to take charge of your health. I'm Beata, your holistic life coach, and every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I'm here on the Female Solution to empower you to make choices that will assist your evolution to abundant health. I'm also blogging every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at Soul Purpose Healing, where I bring you a spiritual chiropractic adjustment to bring you back into alignment with our Creator's love, compassion, and wisdom. Join me every Friday morning at 8 a.m. and Sunday evening at 8 p.m. for a time of Hi, I'm Jody Susan. Essentials. I started Susan Essentials in 2015 because of a personal health journey. I was over medicated and put on 19 different medications. And yes, I reversed all my chronic diseases using plant and energy-based healing. It was amazing. At Tucson Essentials, we support both consumers and businesses, and we do that with helping your employees or yourself with a food as medicine mindset. How Tucson Essentials supports businesses and consumers is we teach people about a food as medicine mindset. So we support people on how to support their own immune system, how to support their brain health, how to support their emotional well-being. And we do that all with plant and an energy-based healing. Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light transcends culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve peaceful harmony in the global society. HWPL is committed to bringing world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I am Director Shinsu Kim of the HWPL Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773-580-1501 and be a part of the movement for world peace. Email us at chicagohwpl@gmail.com.
All right, welcome back. We're at the top of our hour. Welcome back to Soulful Solutions. My name is Dr. Debbie Green. Well, I'm wonderful co-host Naima Latif, producer of the Female Solution, and we are talking to our guest Jennine Bradford-Lee, writing the book and all the purpose thereof. All odds. I tell you, it is truly remarkable, how one can use strength, And one thing, once you put yourself in that position to be used and actually take it to a whole nother level, I see so much more for you. I must tell you. I see a nonprofit for you. I see a couple of other books for you. I see an ongoing stage presence for you. I
I
do.
received it.
I
Thank
do see
you.
that. I see that. I see that. And I mean, because there's so many children in the world, children and also adult inner child issues that
Yes.
have to be finalized, and you have done the work. You know what it feels like. You understand the challenges, and we often wonder why we go through what we go through. Why did I experience this? What was the purpose that God had for me? Well, I'm sure if you don't know exactly why, just live a little longer. You're going to figure it
Mhm.
out.
Mhm.
Okay. One thing about, I'm trying, I mean, one thing about it is you can't heal it if you haven't healed from it,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's the purpose. You had to go through something to feel the ramifications of what this experience is so that you can help another person. It is not just for you. It is for
No.
someone that is going through it right at this very moment, in life. And that, a lot of times, Jennine, this leads to mental illness and suicide ideation. When
Yes.
people cannot get past their traumas, when they have gotten to a point where they don't feel that there is an end. And, even at your youngest state, which I find truly God given power, at your youngest state that you was able to sustain without deteriorating to the point, like you said, I was damaged, but I wasn't deteriorating.
Yes.
Damage is one thing. We can fix a damage good. We can do
Mm-hmm.
damage control. But when deterioration, destruction, we cannot repair. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So you use that, that's the word you use to address you what was going on. Like you said, I was messed up inside. So I had to rescue myself. Self-rescue is so very important. And
Mm-hmm.
as when I have my patients and my clients, I tell them, I teach them self-rescue. I said, because no one can rescue like you can rescue yourself. We're looking for, someone, somewhere, sometime to do something to heal that inner person. But that inner
Yes.
person can only be healed by our ability to heal it.
I have a question
Okay, I
because
know, I know it
like
was coming. I saw that look.
you know when I think
She gets a
of
look when she gets a question.
Uh-huh. It's a thinking look like.
yeah, so many people who have gone through abuse, they don't have the ability to trust in an intimate relationship. How did you find your husband and get to a point where you could trust him
He found her
enough
in a
to end up
glance.
as your
I
husband?
kind of see it. I
That was hard,
see it.
guys. Like
Mm,
sometimes I ask somebody,
Mm,
you really stuck it out because he received all that anger, that treatment.
oh,
He received so much from me, like unintentionally. Like I didn't even know I was giving it off, but I was guarded for so long from my own husband. He's like,
mm,
Jennine, I need you to take that wall down. But because of what I went through, yeah, I love you, but this wall is still up because
mm,
I loved a lot of people that hurt me. So I
yeah,
was so guarded for so long. Like I married my husband guarded.
mm,
And that took a lot for me to come to terms with and to be honest with him. And he's like, I know. Like he saw things in me that I didn't see. And for so long, I'm telling myself, like, this is your husband. Like, how are you guarded with your husband? How are you supposed to feel like, but in my mind, and this is how I knew that, okay, I need help because I'm married to this man. He's a great man, but yet and still I'm guarded. Yet and still I'm unintentionally blaming him for things that happened to me in my childhood because
mm,
I have to blame someone. And 9 times out of 10, most of the time you
right.
blame who's there. The
yeah,
person who's there gets all the flack, even if they didn't.
Misplaced anger.
Yes,
yeah,
I had so much of it. And he helped me work through it. Like that man is a blessing, a
wow,
blessing. And
That's what I said.
when I
mm,
started to self-care and self-love, because I didn't love myself. Like I didn't love myself. And when I started to do
Mm,
that, you can't even really see the love that others have for you when you don't love yourself. He spoke
wow,
so highly of me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you see?
right.
Like, I don't see what you see, but that's because of me. It was me. He can love me to infinity and beyond. But that was nothing because I didn't love myself. So I was not even as crazy as it may sound. Yes, I was married. I'm in this marriage, but I'm not loving myself and I'm guarded for my husband. He's
mm,
putting so much, he's filling my cup up. But because I'm still expecting my cup to be filled by others, I'm not appreciative of this person in front of me that's feeding me. He was actually feeding me. And I was starving myself because it wasn't the hand that I wanted to feed me. So when I started to love
Hmm.
myself, I noticed it just started coming down on its own. And I
Right.
had to really be honest with him because I wasn't comfortable with him in a sexual way because I would feel guilty. But this is my
Mm,
husband. I shouldn't be guilty. But and the thing about it is he was so understanding. And that helped me a lot. He was more understanding than I was. So for a long time I had to fight with that. Not only that sexual aspect, but mentally, like I can tell that my marriage can be so much more once I get through and receive the help that I need. But I know I had to do it for self first in order to do it. I could not love
Mm-hmm.
him like I needed to love him, or like he needed to love me without loving myself first. So when I noticed that,
Mm-hmm.
and I was honest with him, see, I because of what happened, and because sometimes I still felt that like I was damaged, I didn't tell him everything.
Right.
So a lot of things he
Right.
didn't know. But when I told him, he put it together. Okay, that's why you did this. A, B, Y, Z. Like it all came together from him. He was so understanding.
Mm, mm. Yeah, because he looked at you at a pure state. He didn't look at you as damaged goods.
Yes.
That's the reason why he was able to see past all the pain and and God gave him a presence of patience with
Yes.
you so that
Patience.
he could see that. Yeah,
Patience.
he had to have
Full of
patience.
patience.
But yeah, that's what love do. Love is patient and love is what? Kind. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Love is long
Yes.
suffering. So he that was the God in him
Yes.
that you attracted. God gave you a male component to love you. He said, well, all these
Yes.
other people, are not expressing the love. But that's all you really wanted. You wanted someone to love you for who you were.
Yes.
For you to acknowledge that, that, oh, I'm not this person, this or whatever. I'm not focused on the damage, but just
Yes.
focus on Jennine. And that's
Yes.
exactly, what it was. And so Jennine, that's how she did it. That's how you did it to come out of where you was. You couldn't
Yes.
focus on the damaged part of Jennine. You had to focus on the healing
No,
part.
I
And that
did.
and that took, like you say, what do you call switching to soothe, because I got different techniques I help people with to understand how do you develop a self compassionate mentality for yourself. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? You have to switch to soothe. When you're going through a lot of changes and you don't understand why those changes are there, and you may feel angry one minute,
Yes.
sadness the other, guilt this one. You may go through all of these emotions,
All of
but
them.
it's all right to feel them. You feel it, you release, and you let it go because these are these things that's going through your body, just like waves in the ocean. They
Yes.
come and they go. They come and they go. And as they're doing this, then you get the pattern. The
Yes.
pattern is just what it is. You don't become it, you feel it and you move on from it. You take from it the strength that you need for the next time.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? For the next
Yes.
time.
And that was
And
one
that's
of
what
the
you need.
hardest things. Actually
Yeah.
sit in it and allowing yourself to feel it.
Yes. It
You
is.
don't, because
It's
you
not
don't want to
easy.
feel it, but actually
Mm-mm.
allowing yourself to feel those emotions. Yes. It was the hardest thing to do, but it was necessary and it helped a lot.
But that's the only way we can
The
heal. We
only way.
cannot heal when we ignore our pain,
Yeah.
whether it's mental, emotional, physical, whatever. When you ignore pain, pain just gets stronger.
Yes.
That's all it does. And one thing about emotional and mental pain, it is not a pill for that. If you got pain in your body, you can take a pill and the pain will subside. But
Yes.
emotional and mental pill, there's no psychotropic medication
There's none.
for pain of that magnitude. That comes with an awareness that, okay, what am I going to do about this situation? Because if I don't, that's what psychotherapy, and if you need management, is so you got to have both if that's what you need. Some people could do with straight psychotherapy and not need anything when it comes to a traumatic situation, but some people need that edge off. They need that edge to the point where that's let me take that off of you so you can sleep, so you
Yes.
can rest. Because one thing about trauma, it does disturb the ADLs. It
Mhm.
affects your activity of daily living. It can affect the way you eat. It can affect the way you sleep. It can affect the way you communicate with other people. Because
Man.
remember, this is the injured part of us. You see what I'm
Yes.
saying? And that injury becomes a reality if you're not careful.
Yes.
You have to say, okay, what's the difference? And I always, when I'm talking to people and helping them to heal, I ask them, okay, do you know the difference between the person that's injured and the person that's really free.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between those two. And you like, they said, well, wait a minute, I don't understand. I said, well, the one that's injured is linked to the inner child.
Mm-hmm.
It's linked to the inner child that's been injured. The one that's free is the one that's going to free the inner child that's
Yes.
injured.
Yes.
Oh my God. Once they realize the two different parts right there, that's when everything then changes. It changes. Now you're not that broken piece anymore.
Yes.
You're not
Exactly.
fragmented. Yeah, it changes and it's so freeing. Freedom is then real. It's really free. It's
It
not.
feels so good.
Yes, it is. It's like a refreshing, cool shower on a hot summer day. It is so for real. And I'm speaking to everyone because I know this airs on Facebook, and I hope and pray that somebody just scrolls down and just really allows yourself to just look at this thing. Listen to this broadcast. Listen to this podcast. And if you are in any area of your life where you feel you've been injured, if you feel you are still dealing with a trauma, if you feel what is, some things have to be finalized. And I know, like I said, we get diagnosis for major depression, the PTSD, to all of these other things. Okay, don't that's just on paper. I'm talking about what's really going on inside of you. When you make a conscious decision to not just cope, but to conquer whatever is holding you down, then
Mm-hmm.
that's when everything changes. Don't be afraid to feel your pain and close this door. Don't be afraid to allow and face your fears, because when your fear is linked to your pain. That's all. That's how it breathes. That's how it stays active. But use the strength that the Creator gave you, your inner power, your higher source, whatever you want to call it. Use it because it's inside. It's not outside of you. We look for the outside things
Mm-hmm.
to make things better on the inside. But what we find out, there's nothing can do that. There's nothing can do that until we say enough is enough. We draw that property line and we say, okay, how long I've been dealing with this? Oh my God, has it been 15 years, 20 years? You know, and we do the countdown. I call it the countdown of life. And we don't know how much time more that we have. But what we do know is this: we will make a decision today. And I compare Jennine like building a house. Let me say this because I got a few more minutes and I want you to say your last words. Like building a house. Building a house takes a foundation. You cannot build a house on nothing at all. You got to lay a foundation. That foundation has to be something strong enough to hold the rest of what you're putting on top of it. Okay, so the foundation is inside of you. It is the power of pause, the power of initiative, the power of purpose, the power of destiny, the power of choice, all your power sources that you use every single day just to get up and feed this being so it continues to move. If you're hungry, you're going to get yourself food. If you're thirsty, you're going to drink. You know, all of these things that we deal with on a regular basis, we can do everything for the single person. But the goal is, what are you going to do for your inner man? Your inner
Mm-hmm.
man needs to be fed too. It needs to know its love. It needs to be given what it needs so that it can continue to have this journey in life that is productive, that's useful, that's joyful. The worst thing in the world is to walk around on this earth and die inside.
Yes. You've got a
That's the
caller,
worst thing. It's not the death of the physical
I
death,
think.
to die inside. Okay, let's take it real quick before
You had a
we
caller,
let Jennine say her last word.
area code 773-450. You still have a comment? Your mic is open, 773-450. You had a hand raised.
Good morning. How are you all? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, you know what I find is so interesting about relationships? There's two things that always exist. It should be an individual that is balanced within themselves, is when you get with somebody and you improve them and make them better, then they will be more desirable to others around them, which comes natural. No one should be jealous of it. It should be automatic. Matter of fact, you should be glad that people are actually more attracted to you because of what you added to their life. But the last piece of society that interests me is always the mistaken thought that this one individual takes in everything that you need in life. That really is never true. You need everybody in your life, a whole bunch of people just to make you get through. Even people that you just help, who can help develop you be better. You're not going to be limited to this individual. So it's important for people to know that we're all connected together and they own no one. So that way you don't mind if your best lover or whoever is your mate is talking to somebody because they are taking over the top by what your mate knows. Step back and let your mate give them all they can. You don't have to be jealous of that. I find a lot of that happens in relationships. And that's just insecurity. Why should you be afraid of somebody liking somebody you like? You like them, other people automatically like them.
Well, thanks for that comment.
She gets strong enough to know. They don't have to run. They can actually handle it. Yeah.
Well, thanks for that comment. We appreciate it. Thanks so much. I know Dr. Debbie's got to wrap up, and I wanted to make sure people are reminded of Dr. I'm giving you a title, Dr. Jennine. I'm giving.
That's it. That's what she is.
Yeah, there you go. You have earned that.
Thank you.
Speak on the universe, honey, because it's coming.
Right.
Thank you. Oh, I receive it.
Absolutely. So for those wanting to order the autographed copy from her website, her name is spelled JENNINE. So that's justjennine.com. JUSTJENNINE.
I have it in the comment section.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have it in the comment section, so you can go back to the comment section and definitely reach out and get the books and read the book. It's going to bless you. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm just going to say too, it's going to take me a second to say this. Again, build your foundation of love for yourself. Your foundation of love is going to be the one that is going to heal you from all traumas, all unsettlements in your life. And know that you cannot allow yourself to relive things over and over again and cycle over and over again. Okay, that life has already ended. So create another life for yourself of joy, peace, and happiness. You are the creator. You are the shot caller. You are the person that can do this. Don't be afraid. You don't need anyone else. Give yourself permission to be free today. Do you have any final comments, Jennine?
Yes, I just want to thank you guys for having me, and just to tell everyone, just choose you. Your past does not define you. It does not have to define you. I struggled with that for so long, but your past does not define you. Choose you, and if you are choosing you, continue to choose you. It may be hard sometimes, but allow yourself to feel that pain so that you can heal. I always say healing requires hard work. Time does not heal all wounds. You have to put in the work, and just surround yourself with a good support system.
Wise words.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's it. That's it. So that being said, thank you, Facebook. Thank you, YouTube. Again, share and subscribe. Let us know how you feel. Any comments, any topic information that you may want us to talk about, put it in the comment section, because we do go back and look. We want to be able to bring healing to the world, because we know that right now the world needs healing. We all need to be healed from something and continue to heal. So again, thank you so much, Naima. As always, you are just such a bright light. The female solution, when I mean, it hasn't been 2 years. I don't know how long it's been, but I tell you what, I know it's been at least a year. It's been a while. It's been a while. So thank you so much for allowing us to have a stage presence and have the opportunity to help somebody.
Well, we thank you for the work that you do, and that's what we do. We're here to change the world. So thank you for being a part of that transformation.
Absolutely. So what did we get finished at 9:58? That never happens.
Yes.
That never
Everybody buy the
happens.
book. Buy the book. Make sure you get that book.
Yes, honey. Yes.
Yes. All odds. There we go.
Because I know I got mine. Yes. We're going to work on this nonprofit, girlfriend. This nonprofit. Please think
Yes.
about it. Think about it. If you need my help, I will gladly help you put it together. If you want me to walk, collaborate with you, please, please, please.
Thank
I
you
said,
so
it
much. Thank
will
you.
be a life changer for you.
Thank you so much.
You got my number. I'm going to send you Jody Hassan's number so you can work on your inner healing process,
Yes.
and we're going to take it to the next level.
Thank you so
2023, baby.
Thank you, ladies, so much. Oh my
Yes.
God.
On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in
It's
today's
time. It's time.
Your next
It's
speaking
your time.
I
Thank
see
you.
you in
Wow.
full of people,
Yes.
a stadium full of people.
Speaking engagement.
our family
I see
in
it.
China,
Thank you. Y'all gonna make me cry. Thank you.
India,
I see it.
I appreciate you guys so much. So much.
It's
Korea,
time.
Canada,
It's time.
Doing
It's
some
time.
powerful work.
Thank you.
It's time.
Poland,
It's not in vain, honey. It is not in vain. It's for someone else to see it.
Spain,
Someone else to see it.
Italy,
Well,
Receive.
we're going to end this. Let me get off of there.
Have a great holiday.
Medad,
You too.